Here they are. Today we are going to solve another little problem named reverse nodes in K group. Hard level, and it goes like this. Given the head of the linked list, reverse the nodes of the list K at a time and return the modified list. K is a positive integer and is less than or equal to the length of the linked list. If the number of nodes is not a multiple of k, then the left out nodes in the end should remain as it is. You may not alter the values of list nodes, only nodes themselves must be changed. And well, there are some examples here. In the first we have a list of 5 elements and the group size is 2. So as you can see, it is expected that code should reverse elements in 2 groups and leave the last element as is. In the second example, we have a group size of 3 for the same list. And as you can see, it is expected that first 3 elements are supposed to change their order, while the rest 2 elements should stay as is. Okay, let's start to work on our code. And the first thing which I would like to check is that head is not equal to nil, because otherwise, well, it doesn't make sense to proceed and do anything with this list. As you can understand, we need some result. So this is going to be ahead of the new modified list, which we are going to find. And also we need some loop to iterate through the list, and at each iteration we are going to reverse one group at a time. And we are going to return a result after this loop. I would suggest to be very verbose with this loop. And I'm going to just create a flag to control it. It's going to be isFinished, which is false at the beginning. And while it is false, this loop is going to continue its iterations. So if it is the first iteration and we are trying to reverse the first group, then the first element of this reversed group should be used as a result, because it's going to be ahead of the first reverse group and the head of the whole modified list. So we need some code which is going to first reverse the elements in the group inside the list, and second, it should return the first element of the modified group. So let's create another method, something like the reverse group, and it's going to take the head of the group and the size of the group as an argument, and return the first node as a result. Before we proceed with reversing, let's actually find the node of the next group, the first node of the next group, because we are going to bind together the reversed group and the next group, and this data is essential. So for that, I would suggest to create another method, something like get node from node, right? And we should provide the number of steps to do after this node to get it. So it's going to return either list node or nothing, nil, if last element of our group points to nothing. So initially, let's create some variable result, and it's going to point to our node. We need to do some number of steps, which initially is going to be equal to k. And while number of steps is greater than 0, and while result is not equal to nil, we are going to proceed with moving the result, no, pointer to the result. So we are going to just change the result to the result.next, and we are going to reduce the number of steps which is supposed to do by 1. All right. So now we need to return result. It could be either node or nil. But for nil, we actually have 2 cases, and there is a significant difference between them. In first case, we have like enough elements in the list, which means that it just the last node in the group points to nil. We should still reverse this group and proceed. Another case is when we don't have enough elements in the list for a group. It means that we are going through these left out nodes, and in this case they should stay in place as is. So I would suggest to create an error for this case, some enumeration like node error, compatible with the error protocol, with one single case, not enough nodes. Okay, and over here we could check that steps achieved 0 after this loop. If it is no, then we're going to throw an error node error dot not enough nodes, which means that this method is going to become throwable. And if everything is okay, if there is enough nodes, then we are going to return the result as is. All right, let's get back to the reverse group method. So here we are going to get the next group first element using our method. It should be executed using the try word, right? Because it is throwable. So we are going to provide from head after case steps as an arguments. And if error happens, well, let's not handle it in this method. We are going to just halt the reverse procedure and throw the error to the top of the stack. If everything was okay and we actually got our next group first element, then let's proceed with actual reverse procedure. So we are going to iterate through the elements in our list, so through the nodes, and we are going to start with the head. And we expect the head next value to be changed, right? And the first node, which it's supposed to point to, the current element, the head in our case, should be actually the first node of the next group, right? So let's create the variable something like element to use as next, and put the next group first element over there. And now let's proceed with iterating through the list. So while current element is not equal to nil, and while it is not pointing to the next group first element, right? We are going to change the current element next pointer to the element to use as next. And after that, we need to change the current element for the next iteration. It should point to the next element. But because we modified it, we are not able to just use current element next. So let's save it somewhere, in some variable, something like next element over here. And after the modification of current element, we are going to put the next element to be used as the current element. What about the element to use as next? So initially it is the first element of the next group. When we moved the head to the end of the reverse group, then the second element in the list supposed to point to the head now, right? It means that the current element, which we've just modified, is supposed to become the element to use as next. Okay, and as agreed, we also need to return the first element of the reverse group as a result of this method. And it's going to be the last element which we modified in the loop, which is going to be the element to use as next, right? Okay, let's get back to the main loop. And over here, we are going to create a variable, something like group first element. So it's going to be the list node. And let's execute our reverse group method in the try catch variable manner, because it is a throwable method. So we execute the reverse group for a head and k. All right, and if everything is okay, and if it is the first iteration, then the group first element is supposed to become the result, right? It's supposed to become the head of the new list. So we could check that result is nil, which means that this is the first iteration, and if it's so, we are going to replace it with the group first element. Okay. So the reverse group, as you can see, it bounds the modified reverse group with the next element in the list, but we should also bound the group we just reversed to the group which we reversed on the previous iteration. So for that, now let's create another variable, something like previous group last element. So it is the list node, and whenever we receive the group first element, then obviously the previous group last element should now point to this group first element. Yeah. And after we've reversed the group and checked for result and everything, we need to modify the previous group last element, so it would contain the last element of the group we just reversed. So what is this element? As you can see, we are reversing the group using head. And in this code, this list node, the head, is actually moved to the end of the reversed group, which means that this is the last element in this group after all these modifications, right? So we've done this one, and now let's proceed to the next iteration. And for that, we need to check if we actually need the next iteration. Let's check if there is something beyond the last element. So we could check if let next head is equal to head next. So if such element exists, if a head is not pointing to nil, then we could just modify the head for the next iteration and proceed. Otherwise, the loop is over. We could finish it and return the result. Okay, the only blank space at the moment is this catch operation, So this is the code which should be executed when we are going through the left out nodes and there are not enough nodes to make a group. In this case, we shouldn't do anything. We could just halt the whole execution and return the current state of the list, current state of the result as is. Okay, let's check for any compilation issues. Okay. Do try. Yeah, like this. Guard else. Yeah. And finally, let's submit our solution. Nice. So as you can see, the solution was executed on all the test cases technically in 0 milliseconds. Basically, it means that the execution time stands somewhere on the edge of the threshold, and that's why it beats 100% of other submissions. And that's it for today. If you'd like to see me solving other LeetCode problems, then put your request to the comment section. See you next time. Cheers!